So you're thinking about buying a lake property, whether it be an already built lake house or maybe a lake lot that you want to build your dream home on. There's a few things that you need to consider and that you and your spouse or whoever you're going to be doing this with, you all need to talk about and define some guidelines for your search so that you don't end up purchasing maybe on a lake that isn't agreeable to the lifestyle you want to live, or maybe buying into a particular community that doesn't align with what you want to do at your lake property. So the first thing you need to determine is, will this be your primary residence, or is this going to be more of a vacation home for you? Because the cost associated with maintaining a primary residence and a second home could be a little bit different as far as like what you're willing to pay to maintain a second home versus a primary residence. The second thing is this house going to be move-in ready, or are you planning on building your dream home? So that's what you need to define. And sometimes people say, well, I'd rather buy something already built. And so we go out, we show them what's available, and then they come back and say, I'm just not finding anything. Maybe I need to switch and look at a lot to purchase so that I can build what I want. So you kind of need to be flexible with that, but you need to know going into it, if you don't find what you're looking for, are you willing to just dive right in, buy the lot, and build what you want? The third thing to consider is, do you want to be waterfront or do you just want lake access? So if you don't have a huge budget, lake properties are selling for $500,000 to $1 million, and you don't have quite that much to spend on your lake home, maybe you need to look more at homes that are in lake communities that do offer lake access so that you're not necessarily waterfront, but you may be able to get a view, and then you'll definitely have the lake access added on to that. The next thing to consider is, what type of lake experience do you want? Are you wanting to be on a lake that has a lot of marinas, a lot of little restaurants that you can take your boat to? Are you wanting to just get out on a pontoon and enjoy the day out on the lake? What kind of activities do you see yourself doing once you're in the lake house? Because that may determine which lake you need to be on for those. The next thing I would say are, what activities are you wanting to do? Are you looking to swim in the lake? Are you wanting to kayak? Are you wanting to be on the pontoon? Are you wanting to fish? Again, where you're at on the lake could determine which of those activities you may or may not be able to do easily. I would also think about who's coming with you. So if you plan on living here full time, but you want friends, family, grandkids to come visit on a regular basis, make sure you're including that in your planning process. Is the home you're buying big enough to accommodate having extended family come to stay for a week, 2 weeks at a time? Do you have adequate parking at the particular property that you're looking at? The next thing I would talk about is the privacy factor. Lake properties here in East Tennessee anyway, typically you're going to have the smaller lots on the lake because they wanted to cut as much of that land up and sell it to make as much money as they could when they developed these subdivisions. So if you're wanting a larger tract on the lake to have more privacy, you need to understand that that's going to cost additional money, because most of them are going to be on probably half-acre to three-quarter-acre lots. I would think about, do you want a dock? Not all properties on the lake are dockable, so you need to take that into consideration. Are you okay with not having a personal dock if you were able to get a boat slip in the subdivision marina? How close do you want to be to shopping, restaurants, an airport, things like that? Because our lake properties tend to be on the outskirts of town, and depending on which lake you want to be in, you could be driving 30 minutes, you could be driving 45 minutes, you might even be an hour out, depending on the lake and where on that lake you end up buying a property. So you need to think about those things. The last thing I would talk to you about is, what's the number one reason that you're wanting to live this lifestyle? Why do you want to be on the lake? Anytime we ask ourselves why, that's going to be a motivation for us. So find out why it is that you want to live on the lake. Has it always been your dream? Do you love to fish? Do you love to boat? Do you just love the the calmness that looking out over the lake and the mountains provides you, because that's going to give you guidance in the direction of what lake you need to be on and what subdivision you want to be in as well. These are just some things that I would encourage you, if you're thinking about buying lake property, to think on, have some answers for, so that once you do start looking at lake properties, you're more honed in on what it is exactly that you want out of the situation. So if you're thinking about taking that next step and actually go out and start looking at lake properties, I'm Amy Shrader with Remax Real Estate 10. I am a lakefront specialist here in East Tennessee, and I would love to help you start living the Tennessee lake life.